friends, I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I'd like to show you this fun card. And my original one was a more simple card without the embossing, but I'm going to show you the embossing today. It is made with the Blue Ribbon stamp set and chalk lines. And if you would like to put a greeting on the inside, I'm thinking Perfect Pennants has some great stamps that would work perfectly. So this card has Whisper White cardstock, and it is 11 by 2 3/4, and it's scored at 5 1/2. And this is sort of our card base. And we're going to put it through the embossing folder. I thought that the chalk lines stamp looked perfect with the Beautifully Baroque folder. And so I'm going to put that into my folder and run it through the Texture Boutique. I don't know what that's doing with your view. This is one layer, so I'm going to go ahead and use the shim. I love the Texture Boutique because it can be out on my desktop, handy, where my Big Shot, I don't really have space for it on my desk. And so I've got my embossing done. Now this piece of cardstock is going to fit over the card base, and in order for it to fit, when I cut my card base from crushed curry, I'm going to actually be taking off about 1/16 of an inch. So this is not cut at 5 1/2, it's cut at 5 7/16. And the width is still going to be 4 1/4. So it's almost the basic cardstock size. I'm using Memento black ink to stamp my chalk lines, and this is a photopolymer stamp, so I'm putting my my Stampin' Pure's mat underneath. And I want this kind of swirly in the middle to be facing out at the sides of my card. And it's a little bit too long for this, so I want the hook to be at the bottom of my card, and it's going to go off the edge at the top. And so I'm going to turn it around. Now this is my bottom, going off the edge at this side. Okay. For this part, I'm going to use chalkboard cardstock, the chalkboard. Now it's impossible to show you this, but it looks like it's the same on both sides. This side feels like regular cardstock, and this side feels kind of rubbery to me. And so this is the side we need to stamp on. You will see right away that if you're on the wrong side, because it doesn't really show up very well. I'm using the Color Box chalk, and this color is aquamarine. It's not one of Stampin' Up's colors, but I went through my cards, and I think it looks very much like Bermuda Bay. I think you could easily use Bermuda Bay with the aquamarine color box. I think the rose coral color box looks very much like our crisp cantaloupe. Today I'm using the yellow citrus which I think looks great with crushed curry. I'm not going to be using the ribbon part of this stamp, and so I'm going to be going over the side with that. This color box ink is almost like paint, and so it's a little bit thicker, a little bit longer to dry. And I think it gets brighter as it dries. And so I'm going to set that aside for a while. Meanwhile, while that's drying, I'm going to use that same ink to stamp on some Whisper White cardstock. And it looks lovely on our cardstock as well. So don't think you have to only use it for your chalkboard cardstock. I really should have stamped these earlier to give them a chance to dry thoroughly. But I am punching the center out. This is my 1 3/8 inch circle punch, and the 2 3/8 scallop punch. This is definitely not dry on the chalkboard, so I hope I don't smear it. I'm okay. Now if I can only finish my card without smearing it. I'm also going to use I can let those dry while I'm preparing my ribbon. I'm using the Crushed Curry chevron ribbon. This is 2 3/4 inch wide. And I'm actually going to use the stripes that are here to guide my cutting of this flag end. So this ribbon is about 3 inches long. It's probably longer than it needs to be. So I'm ready to assemble. I'm going to take my card base and make sure that I've got my cut off ends at the top. I'm going to just center this and then adhere it on the back. I'm using fast fuse, but any of the adhesives will work. I'm going to actually reposition this so that I can have the bottom of the card match at the bottom. This is the bottom of the card match, and then I'm just going to close that. And it looks like either I scored it a little bit off, or the card got a little bit smaller as going through the embossing folder, so I'm going to just trim that off a little bit. Again, if I wanted to put a greeting in here, I think I will. I think I'm going to put Make a Wish, so I will stamp that in Memento ink. And this is from the Perfect Pennants. So now I'm just going to assemble my card. I'm going to put some adhesive here for the ribbon. I'm going to use dimensionals for the center. I'm going to be oh so careful because that doesn't look like it's dry yet. So I'm trying not to touch the sides. And I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the circle. And I think it's drier, this piece. And my card is done. So if you would like to order blue ribbon or the coordinating 1 3/8 circle punch, the 2 3/8 scallop punch, or chalk lines, or any of the supplies that we used, or the Color Box chalk ink, come on over to my website. Let me show it to you. It's bevadams.com, and I'd love to be your demonstrator. Talk to you soon. Bye.